This is a book review of the history of comics, the Steranko History of Comics, and it's Volume 2. Now this is a slightly battered copy. I've done a review of Volume 1, and my Volume 1 is even worse condition than this. So I'm just going to quickly run through this. It's an absolute brilliant book. This was, for me, was the first history of comics. I know that people have done studies before comics, and of course since then there's been, but I think this is just an absolute masterpiece of study of comics, and I loved it, and I still love it. Still love to look through this. Now the sad thing is that it feels that there was going to be a volume 3 of this is it. Book is the second of a projected series of 6 volumes. So volume 1, they said all the things it covers, common attraction, bloody pulps, etc. But the remaining volumes will record the comic chronology through the 1940s into the 50s and 60s up to the present time. Full colour copies of the covers, published volumes, are available without type from Super, etc. Well, sadly this was 1972, and unless they're still stored away, maybe we will never see them. I would love to see a Volume 3, Volume 4 and Volume 5 and 6. Because I think this was just such a brilliant series. So, what's in this one? Well, this one is slightly more unusual from the Volume 1, which was more concentrated, obviously, on DC and Marvel comics. But this one is got Whiz comics. So you've got Whiz comics, you've got Captain Marvel. Now, I didn't know anything about Captain Marvel. I would never have seen, I mean, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, all those sort of things, Captain America. Those were reasonably familiar. The pulps and things which were in Volume 1, I didn't know anything about. But Captain Marvel, didn't know anything about Captain Marvel. So this was just amazing information. Whiz comics, you got, of course, Captain Marvel, obviously Junior, you got Mary Marvel, and this one, Lightning Strikes Twice. You got Master Comics, see there. And then Wow Comics, of course, Marvel, Mary Marvel, the Shazam girl, as it puts there, and Wow Comics, Mary Marvel Comics as well. And it's just got lots and lots of information about all the people that worked on it. The Fawcett shot, obviously this is all the Fawcett thing. And then he goes into the Marvel family, and then he goes into funny animals. And again, I wouldn't have known anything about, at the time, 1972, 73, whatever, I just did not know anything about those funny animals. And then you've got costume co-stars. So we've got Ibis, Spy Smasher, Xmas Comics, Christmas Comics, obviously, Lance O'Casey, Slam Bang Comics, Wow Comics again, American's Greatest Comics. And then it goes into Black Hawk. You've got military comics, and that's obviously Quality Comics. So you've got all about various people that were involved in the comics there. You've got all the characters, also obviously all the artists, all about it. Tyrone Power of Comics, I suppose very true. Got some great drawings in here as well. Military comics, modern comics, Black Hawk comics. Of course, he went into, eventually it was DC Comics. Also, you've got Flying Heroes, you've got all about the Air Fighters issue, Sky Blazers, Popular Comics, just page after page. And then you go into Plastic Man. I love Plastic Man. And that was in Police Comics, which is a real weird title for something like Plastic Man. Never could understand Police Comics. But however, that's where he was, and I love those stories. Got a few issues. Very poor quality issues, but I do love those old quality comics. They really did bring out some really unusual stuff. And they got some more here. Features Funny, and I've got a couple of those as well. Feature Comics. I don't know if Feature's Funny. I probably haven't got that one. I know I haven't got that one. I think that's a very early one. But Feature Comics I've got. So they had lots of different characters in it. So you had some really weird ones. Dollman, Samar, Mickey Finn, Spinshaw, Rusty Ryan, and so on. So you can see them down the side banner there. Crack Comics, National Comics, Uncle Sam. Goes through Uncle Sam Comics, Police Comics again, with obviously Plastic Man, Military Comics. So there's a lot of quality comics and a lot of information all about these people. And of course at the back, it goes into Spirit. I love Spirit. Spirit was one of the, at the time, of course, not particularly accessible. There was like, I think, kitchen sink books, and there was a couple of other. You could get odd copies of, and I loved Spirit. I bought lots and lots of issues of Spirit, and I still thoroughly enjoy those. And you've even got a story there of Spirit, brilliant story, and then finishes off with a very unusual, just in afterward. And then again, you've got some exactly the same as in the previous volume. You've got lots of examples of the brilliant Jim Steranko, who I think is a superb artist, and I would love to see a proper, huge, chunky volume of Jim Steranko's work. And an unpublished version of Mary Marvel's covered by Jack Binder, just stuck in the back. Brilliant, really super sharp quality, beautiful. So this is an absolutely superb book, and I think if you really love comics, you love the history of comics, you want to find out more about the history of comics, I don't think you go anywhere other than just to this. I think this is just a brilliant guide to that period, mainly 1940s, 1950s, of course. Like I say, sadly, the Marvel, DC, etc. versions never came out. I would love to see those one day, but this is brilliant.